Welcome to Hollywood Echoes. Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtain on Hollywood's dazzling facade to reveal secrets that have long been hidden in the shadows. Behind the glitz and glamour lies a world of mystery and intrigue, a realm where legendary stars faced untold struggles and dramatic twists in their lives. Are you ready to explore the unexpected side of fame and uncover the stories that history tried to keep secret? Let's step into the unknown as we dive into these captivating tales. Judy Garland. Judy Garland became a global icon with her unforgettable role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. However, behind the glamour of Hollywood, her life was marked by relentless studio pressure, grueling work schedules, and personal struggles that led to substance abuse. From a young age, she was subjected to strict control by MGM, who prescribed her amphetamines to keep up with demanding filming schedules and then sedatives to help her sleep. This cycle spiraled into a lifelong addiction, affecting both her career and financial stability. Despite her immense talent and adoration from fans, she frequently faced economic hardship, often being left in precarious financial situations due to mismanagement and excessive spending. Her marriages were troubled, and her mental health suffered under the weight of fame. In 1969, at the age of 47, Garland was found dead in her London home due to an overdose of barbiturates. Her passing was a tragic end to a life filled with both incredible highs and devastating lows, solidifying her legacy as one of Hollywood's most brilliant yet tormented stars. Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi, the Hungarian-born actor, achieved international fame with his chilling portrayal of Dracula in the 1931 classic. His deep voice and hypnotic stare cemented him as one of the most iconic horror actors of all time. However, his association with the role became both a blessing and a curse. Typecast in horror films, Lugosi struggled to find roles outside the genre. As his career declined, he turned to morphine to cope with chronic pain, which led to a severe addiction. Financial troubles plagued him in his later years, reducing him to low-budget films and even brief periods of near destitution. By the time he passed away in 1956 at the age of 73, he had little to his name. His bank account held only $1,900, and his only significant asset was a modest $1,000 property. Despite his tragic end, Lugosi remains a legendary figure in cinematic history, forever remembered as the definitive Count Dracula. Buster Keaton. Buster Keaton, one of the greatest silent film comedians, was a master of physical comedy and breathtaking stunts. His films, such as The General and Sherlock Jr., showcased his unparalleled ability to mix danger with humor. However, the transition to talkies did not favor him, and his career suffered. The once revered star faced personal and professional hardships, including struggles with alcoholism that further derailed his success. As financial difficulties mounted, he was forced to work on low-paying projects to make ends meet. Despite this, he never lost his talent, and in his later years, he was rediscovered and celebrated for his contributions to cinema. While his later life was marked by hardship, his influence on the art of filmmaking remains undeniable. Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday's soulful and melancholic voice made her one of the most influential jazz singers in history. Songs like Strange Fruit revealed not only her immense talent, but also her deep pain, as she used music to highlight racial injustice and personal struggles. However, her life was filled with adversity. She battled addiction, endured abusive relationships, and faced relentless legal troubles that drained her financially. By the late 1950s, her health had severely deteriorated due to years of substance abuse and stress. In 1959, she was hospitalized for liver disease, but even in her final days, she was placed under arrest for drug possession while lying on her deathbed. At the time of her passing at the age of 44, she had only a few dollars to her name. Despite the hardships, her legacy endures, with her music continuing to inspire generations of artists. Ed Wood, the infamous filmmaker behind Plan 9 from Outer Space, became a cult figure for his low-budget sci-fi and horror movies, often considered some of the worst films ever made. Despite his passion for filmmaking, Hollywood never embraced him, and he struggled to find financial success. His unique vision and eccentric storytelling failed to translate into mainstream acceptance, forcing him to work on low-paying projects, including adult films, just to survive. As his career declined, his personal life also deteriorated. Battling alcoholism and mounting debt, Wood found himself in an increasingly desperate situation. By the time he passed away in 1978 at the age of 54, he was homeless, living in a friend's apartment after being evicted. His death from a heart attack marked a tragic end to a life filled with creative ambition but plagued by hardship. However, years later, he would be rediscovered as a cult icon, with his work celebrated for its unintentional charm and his unwavering dedication to filmmaking. Veronica Lake. Veronica Lake was one of the most recognizable stars of the 1940s, known for her striking beauty and signature peekaboo hairstyle. She captivated audiences in films like Sullivan's Travels and The Blue Dahlia, becoming a major Hollywood icon. However, her fame was fleeting. Struggling with alcoholism and a reputation for being difficult to work with, her career declined sharply. By the 1950s, major studios had abandoned her, leaving her to take small roles in television and stage performances. Financial instability became a constant battle, and she spent much of her later life working as a bartender in New York. Her final years were marked by illness and hardship. In 1973, she died at the age of 50 due to hepatitis and kidney failure, nearly penniless and forgotten by the industry that once adored her. Though her career was cut short, her image remains iconic, symbolizing both the glamour and tragedy of classic Hollywood. Sammy Davis Jr. A multi-talented performer, Sammy Davis Jr. was a singer, dancer, and actor who dazzled audiences with his incredible charisma and energy. As a key member of the Rat Pack, he shared the stage with legends like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, becoming one of the most beloved entertainers of his time. However, despite his immense success, financial troubles followed him throughout his life. His extravagant lifestyle, multiple marriages, and significant tax debts drained his wealth. By the 1980s, Davis was facing millions in unpaid taxes, a burden that continued to haunt him until his death. In 1990, he succumbed to throat cancer at the age of 64, leaving behind a staggering $5.2 million tax debt. While financial difficulties overshadowed his later years, his contributions to music, film, and civil rights remain his true legacy. His influence on the entertainment industry is undeniable, as he broke racial barriers and inspired countless artists. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney's career spanned nearly 9 decades, making him one of Hollywood's most enduring figures. As a child star, he was one of the biggest box office draws of the 1930s and 1940s, charming audiences with his performances in the Andy Hardy films. However, despite his long and successful career, financial troubles plagued him. Poor financial management, excessive spending, and a gambling addiction drained his fortune. He was married 8 times, with legal battles and alimony payments further complicating his finances. By the time he passed away in 2014 at the age of 93, his once vast fortune had dwindled to just $18,000. His later years were also marred by allegations of elder abuse, with claims that he had been financially exploited by those close to him. Despite these struggles, Rooney's impact on Hollywood remains undeniable, and he is remembered as one of the industry's most versatile and talented performers. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was the legendary voice of Motown, whose hits like What's Going On and Sexual Healing not only defined the soul music genre, but also resonated deeply with the cultural and social movements of his time. His influence on music is immeasurable, and he remains one of the most celebrated artists in history. However, Gaye's life was marred by personal struggles, including addiction, turbulent relationships, and severe financial difficulties. His luxurious lifestyle was not matched by his income, and mounting debts forced him into bankruptcy. His battles with the IRS and his growing tax problems led him to relocate to Europe in a desperate attempt to escape his financial troubles. Despite his efforts, Gaye was unable to recover financially. In 1984, just days before his 45th birthday, Gaye's life was tragically cut short when he was shot and killed by his father following a heated argument at their home. At the time of his death, Marvin Gaye was reported to be $9 million in debt, an unimaginable fall for someone who had once been one of the wealthiest and most revered artists in the world. His untimely death was a devastating blow to the music industry, but his work continues to inspire and influence musicians to this day. Andy Milligan. Andy Milligan was an independent filmmaker whose controversial works gained a cult following for their raw, shocking content. Known for his low-budget horror and exploitation films like The Ghastly Ones and Bloodthirsty Butchers, Milligan had a unique, gritty vision that challenged traditional Hollywood filmmaking. However, his films rarely found commercial success, and he struggled financially throughout his career. Milligan's abrasive personality, compounded by his resistance to compromise with Hollywood standards, made it difficult for him to find steady work or funding for his projects. As his career stalled, he found himself in dire financial straits. In his later years, Milligan was diagnosed with AIDS, and his health rapidly deteriorated. His struggles were compounded by the fact that he was largely forgotten by the film industry, with only a small group of die-hard fans keeping his work alive. When he passed away in 1991 at the age of 62, he was buried in an unmarked grave in Los Angeles, a poignant end to a life that had never quite reached the recognition he had hoped for. Milligan's films, though often crude and controversial, have earned a niche place in the history of cult cinema, and his legacy is celebrated by those who admire his unique, unflinching vision. Haim. Haim was a Canadian actor who became a teenage heartthrob in the 1980s, with iconic roles in films like The Lost Boys and Lucas. His boyish charm and natural talent made him one of the most promising stars of his generation. However, the pressures of fame at such a young age took a heavy toll on Haim's mental health. Struggling with substance abuse, he spiraled into a pattern of self-destructive behavior, which caused his career to decline rapidly. By the 1990s, Haim was facing severe financial difficulties, and he filed for bankruptcy in 2001. Despite several attempts to revive his career, including his 2007 reality show, The Two Coreys, alongside his close friend and co-star Corey Feldman, Haim's personal demons continued to hold him back. His health, too, suffered as he struggled with a variety of medical issues. On March 10, 2010, Corey Haim died at the age of 38 from complications related to pneumonia, a tragic end for someone who had once seemed destined for greatness. At the time of his death, Haim was living with his mother, facing significant financial struggles and battling the demons that had plagued him throughout his life. Despite his personal challenges, Haim's work in the 1980s continues to resonate with fans, and his legacy lives on as a reminder of the harsh realities of child stardom. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, known as the King of Pop, was one of the most famous and influential entertainers of all time. From Thriller to Bad and Dangerous, Jackson's music broke records, his dance moves inspired generations, and his cultural impact was immeasurable. However, as his career progressed, Jackson faced increasing financial troubles. His extravagant lifestyle, including the maintenance of his lavish estate Neverland Ranch, put a significant strain on his finances. Additionally, he was involved in numerous expensive legal battles and lawsuits, which only added to his mounting debt. By the time of his death in 2009, Jackson was reported to be nearly $500 million in debt, a staggering amount for someone who had once been the highest-earning entertainer in the world. Despite the financial difficulties, Jackson's death was a worldwide shock, and his legacy continues to thrive. His posthumous earnings, including album sales, concerts, and other ventures, have made him one of the highest-earning deceased celebrities. While Jackson's life was plagued by personal issues and financial instability, his contributions to music and pop culture are undeniable, and his influence remains felt globally. Today, we journeyed through the trials and triumphs behind the luminous smiles of Hollywood legends. Remember, even in the darkest moments, hope shines through. These iconic stars, despite their hardships, found the strength to rise again and inspire future generations. Let their resilience remind you that every setback is just the beginning of a new, brighter chapter. If you found this journey inspiring, subscribe to Hollywood Echoes and join us for more stories that light up the shadows. Until next time, keep your hope alive and your dreams within reach.